Have you ever heard of the cycle of abuse when it comes to marriage? I'm Victoria McCooey, founder of Victoria McCooey Coaching, and I want to talk to you today about what that means. So, when there is abuse in marriage, it often goes around in a cycle. So, here's what the experts tell us there is a honeymoon phase when there's what we call love bombing, right? They're showering you with love, affection, gifts, promises, everything they can possibly do to win you over. Then there's the tension building phase. So that's where things start happening that don't make any sense to you. For seemingly no reason at all, you'll start getting the silent treatment for nothing, or being accused of cheating or not telling the truth about your whereabouts, or just things that don't make any sense, mind games, just confusion. And the tension keeps building and building and building because this weird mind game phase keeps going on. And then when you start pushing back because it's so unbearable and it's so upsetting and untrue, and you're being treated in a way that you don't deserve, so you start pushing back on this, and then there's the explosion from the abuser, and there's no way you can stop the explosive behavior from happening. So that's what a lot of victims think. Well, if I hadn't, no, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So that's what I try to help my clients with, not keep second guessing themselves. Well, maybe if I hadn't, or if only I had fill in the blank, then he might not have erupted that way. No, he's going to erupt. So, we're talking about women who I coach who are married to narcissistic men, and what those behaviors look like, and how this cycle of abuse plays into their dynamic. So the explosive phase happens, and then we're back to the honeymoon phase where things seem calm. The love bombing starts again with, oh, flowers. They're never, a narcissistic person is never going to tell you they're sorry, it was their fault. They won't take any responsibility. They can't. They just can't take responsibility. They're not wired for that. But they will try to overcompensate in other ways. They'll try to give you lavish gifts or shower you with affection or whatever it takes for you to get through to the honeymoon phase with them. And then guess what? It starts all over. So what I'm trying to do in my practice with my clients, I am trying to reduce the number of times you go around in that circle. They say women who are in abusive situations go around that circle 7 to 9 times on average. I'd like to decrease that number. That's my mission. There's also something the experts have come up with. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's called the power and control wheel. I'm going to actually put a link to this in this video so you can download this yourself and read it for yourself. But it's really great at exposing what this abuse looks like, because if you're in it, and you may not realize this is abuse. It's just your normal. And it's important for us to hold a mirror up for you to make you realize that it's not normal. This is not normal. And can I just tell you a little personal story? When I was in my abusive marriage, my first marriage, because I'm happily married now to a very non-abusive man, but my first marriage to a narcissistic, sociopathic husband, I was very isolated, and that was by design. I think a lot of that was by his design. I was kept away from other people I wasn't close to, friends or family. You know, he disparaged my family, didn't want to spend time with my family. So then I became less attached to my family. He tried to sabotage any friendships that I developed, because now I realize it was because he didn't want me telling these secrets to anyone. He didn't want me close enough to tell secrets to anyone, um, because he would be found out. You know, somebody would go, that's not normal. So this abusive behavior of his, I thought was just normal. That's what my parents' marriage looked like. I thought it was normal. And it wasn't physically abusive, but it was every other kind of abuse. It was verbal, emotional, psychological, financial. So I'm going to read you some of these things so you know what they sound like. Oh, because the first time anyone ever held a mirror up for me was someone I worked with who had overheard some of my phone conversations with my husband and took it upon herself, after a very long time, I'm sure, of soul searching as to whether she should or not, because we were work friends. We weren't really outside of work friends. And it wasn't a job I went to every day. I was a consultant, so I went to a lot of different companies all the time, so I only saw her sporadically. So it was a big leap. And I give her a lot of credit. It's hard to do this, but it saved my life. So I owe her a huge debt of gratitude. But she showed me something like this one day and said, "What is this? Does any of this sound familiar to you? Do you think that maybe any of this is true for you?" And that was the first time the aha moment, right? The light bulb goes off and you go, "Oh, this isn't what everybody has. This is not normal." So here is what different kinds of abuse in marriage can look like. Coercion and threats, making and or carrying out threats to do something to hurt her, threatening to leave her, commit suicide, or report her to welfare, making her drop charges. That was me. Making her do illegal things. That was me too. Intimidation, making her afraid by using looks, actions, and gestures. I mean, does this resonate with you? You know, I can still remember the look that used to scare me to death. Smashing things. Yeah, I had my cell phone smashed. And I'm telling you all these things that are so personal about me because I want you to know you're not alone. There's so many women that I now talk to. Every day I talk to new women who are going through this exact same thing. So you don't have to be ashamed or humiliated. This kind of abuse happens all the time. There is an epidemic of men like this who charm you, manipulate you, and then abuse you, and in a way that's so slow and evolves over such a long period of time, you don't realize you're being abused. Okay, let's keep going. Destroying her property, abusing pets, displaying weapons. All right, here are some examples of emotional abuse. Putting her down, making her feel bad about herself. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could go on and on about that. No one likes you. I remember one time one of my kids wasn't invited to a birthday party, and he told me it was because no one liked me, and that's why our child wasn't invited to a party. Calling her names, making her think she's crazy. That is just, the all-time favorite. When you call them out on some behavior and they tell you you're making the whole thing up, it never happened, you're crazy. Playing mind games, humiliating her, making her feel guilty. All right, then there's isolation, which I already talked about a little bit. Controlling what she does, who she sees and talks to, what she reads and where she goes, limiting her outside involvement, using jealousy to justify his actions, right? Doesn't want you socializing without him, wants to know exactly where you are, wants to control who you're with, minimizing, denying, and blaming, making light of the abuse and not taking her concerns about it seriously, saying the abuse didn't happen, shifting responsibility for abusive behavior, saying she caused it. Yes, if you hadn't done or said or whatever, XYZ, I wouldn't have had to do that. Oh, I'm so angry that you made me do that, right? That's typical. Using children, making her feel guilty about the children, using the children to relay messages, using visitation to harass her, threatening to take the children away, right? Economic abuse, preventing her from getting or keeping a job, making her ask for money. Oh, wow, so I used to have to practically beg for the money I earned. I know. And I'm, a normal person. I have a college degree, I'm educated, completely normal, like to think I'm pretty intelligent. This happened to me. It can happen to you too. I would have to beg practically for money to buy groceries. And typically the answer would be, today's not a good day. And I was juggling work and kids and everything. And if I had time to grocery shop, I needed to do it right at that moment. And I would have to wait until he thought it was a good time. And then I would have to justify every single purchase and then put a dollar amount next to it. And then he would go through, it was like The Price is Right. I had to know the prices of everything. And he would find out if I was making it up. So then he would add it up and take off whatever he didn't think was necessary. If he didn't feel like we should have something, he would just cross it off the list. And then he would add it up and give me that exact amount. So of course, when I go to the grocery store with all these children in tow, I'm not gonna, I end up seeing something that I really need, and then I can't get it or I have to figure out which thing I'm going to not get in order to get the thing I really need. It was just a psychological nightmare. And then feeling worried that I'm going to go to the checkout counter and not have enough money because, it was cash. I didn't have a credit card, I had nothing. So, yeah, that's economic abuse. Male privilege, treating her like a servant, making all the big decisions, acting like the master of the castle, being the one to define men's and women's roles. And then there's finally coercion and threats. Oh, wait, we did that one. All right, so those are all of the things on the power and control wheel. And as you can see, most of it's about intimidation, right? So why? Why do these people do this? I mean, what triggers this? What causes this kind of behavior? Well, narcissists need to be in control. They're very controlling. They need to be in control. They have this grandiose self-image. They think their life is bigger than it is. They think that they are better than everyone else, and they are entitled to whatever they want whenever they want it. That's why it's very hard for them to give up money, because they want to be able to get whatever they want whenever they want it. And even if it's for their own children, they'll deny their own children things that they need because they want all the money for themselves, because if they want something extravagant, they feel they should be able to have it. Their egos are very fragile. They can't handle being told anything negative about themselves because they think they're perfect. So if you just say the smallest thing, like, I don't know, like they said something wrong or did something they shouldn't have done or whatever, they cannot handle it, and you will have to be punished for that. So that's what triggers them. They project their own shortcomings onto you. So if they feel stupid They will call you stupid. If they're cheating, they'll tell you you're cheating. They know you're cheating. They take any imperfection in themselves and they can't handle it. They project it onto you. Sorry, just looking at this last. Oh, so what's the result of this? You end up walking on eggshells. Have you heard that term? That is that feeling you have that you just don't know what is going to trigger them. You don't know what's going to set them off. You don't know when the next shoe is going to drop. So you're constantly tentative and stressed and nervous about what's about to happen. You just don't know. And that's exactly where they want you to be. Because the more unsure you are, the more precarious you're feeling, like the more off balance you are, the easier it is for them to control you, because you're not in control of yourself. So it's easy for them at that point to step in and control you. So why am I telling you all this? First of all, because I want you to know you are not alone. There are so many women out there in marriages across the spectrum, women of every race, religion, socioeconomic group. There are women in every part of society in abusive marriages like this. So please don't be ashamed to reach out, to get help. And I hope this is holding that mirror up for you, that person held up for me, that first aha moment I had where the light bulb went off and I said, this is not right. This is not normal. The first time I ever realized. I hope that this maybe is doing that for someone out there. That's my goal. I want everyone to realize that this is not normal, and you don't have to, nor should you, stay in an abusive marriage. So the first step is to reclaim your power. I know, easier said than done, right? But that's what I help women do. That's the name of my program. It's Reclaim Your Power. Together, we help you set boundaries, figure out how to get yourself ready to make some big life-altering decisions, and get the support you need to follow through. So I'll put a link in this post so that you can reach out to me. That's the first step in working with me. We'll have you'll sign up for a free call. I'll put the link in the post and in this video in the notes, and you can schedule a free call right on my calendar. We'll talk, and you'll tell me your situation, and I'll be totally honest with you, and I'll tell you if I'm in a position to help you. And if I am, and I think we're a good fit, if I think that you're ready to make some big changes in your life, then we'll talk about different ways I work with my clients. So I hope you'll take advantage of the free call. Reach out to me. And also I'll have a PDF in there for this power and control wheel. So you can read it yourself and maybe give it some more thought when you have time to really look at it and think about if that's what is happening in your own marriage. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.